Ladies, we need to talk about something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Not because it's mean, not because it's unfair, but because it contradicts everything you've been taught about what a good man looks like. You've heard it your whole life, right? Find a nice guy. He treats women well. They're respectful. They're not like the others. And on the surface, that sounds perfect. Safe and logical, the obvious choice. But here's the truth no one prepared you for. The nice guy, and I'm talking about a very specific type here, is often the most emotionally dangerous man you'll ever meet. Not because he's violent, not because he's loud or obviously toxic. No, he's dangerous because he's the most subtle personality. He hides behind kindness. He hides behind patience. He hides behind the one thing you've been taught to trust most, good behavior. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're emotionally entangled with someone who never actually showed up as himself. So today, we're going to go deep. We're talking about the psychological patterns that make the nice guy so destructive. We're exposing the invisible manipulation, and we're giving you the clarity to spot this before you lose months or years to someone who was performing safety, not providing it. If even one part of this resonates, stay with me, because once you notice these patterns, your mind will definitely scream, aha. Let's begin. First, let's be clear about who we're talking about. This is not about men who are genuinely kind. This is not about men who are thoughtful, respectful, and emotionally mature. Those men exist, and they're incredible. The nice guy we're dissecting today is someone entirely different. He's the man who uses niceness as currency, as strategy, as emotional collateral he expects you to repay. Here's the difference. A genuinely kind man gives without keeping score. He's respectful because that's who he is, not because he's building a case for why you owe him something. A nice guy gives with invisible strings attached. Every compliment, every favor, every "I'm here for you" text, it's all going into an emotional ledger you didn't know existed. And one day, when you don't respond the way he expected, that ledger gets cashed in. Suddenly, the patient man becomes resentful. The understanding guy becomes passive-aggressive. The "I just want you to be happy" guy reveals what he actually meant. "I just want you to choose me." And that's when you realize his kindness was never unconditional. It was a down payment. So, here are some of the dangerous signs of Mr. Nice Guys. Danger sign number 1. He makes you feel guilty for not reciprocating. Let me paint a picture. He's been there for you. He listens when you vent. He checks in. He offers advice. He's supportive, attentive, emotionally available, and you appreciate it, genuinely. But you're not romantically interested. You see him as a friend. And that's when things shift. Suddenly, his energy changes. He pulls back. He gets quieter. He makes comments like, "I just feel like I'm always the one putting in effort. I guess I'm just not enough. I thought we had something special." Wait, when did friendship become a transaction? Here's what's happening psychologically. The nice guy operates on what's called covert contracts. A covert contract is an unspoken agreement you never actually agreed to. In his mind, the contract says, if I'm nice to you, listen to you, support you, you'll eventually fall for me. But you never signed that contract. You never even saw it. And when you don't fulfill your end of a deal you didn't know existed, he feels betrayed. Not because you did something wrong, but because his entire strategy was based on the belief that niceness equals romantic access. And here's the dangerous part. He'll make you feel guilty you're the problem, like you led him on, like you used him, like you're cruel for not reciprocating. Suddenly, you're apologizing for not feeling something you never promised to feel. That guilt, that's emotional manipulation wearing a nice guy mask. Danger sign number 2. He positions himself as the savior. This one is sneaky.
The nice guy loves to be needed, not because he's genuinely selfless, but because being needed gives him leverage. Let me show you how this plays out. You're going through something, a breakup, work stress, family drama, and he's there, always there. I'm here for you. You deserve better. I hate seeing you hurt. And it feels comforting, safe. But here's what's happening beneath the surface. He's positioning himself as the solution to your pain, the contrast to the guy who hurt you, the better option you just haven't realized yet. Here's what's happening psychologically. He operates on what's called opportunistic proximity. He's not supporting you because he values your well-being. He's supporting you because he's waiting for the moment you're vulnerable enough to see him. And the more you lean on him during your pain, the more he believes you owe him consideration. Here's the psychological trap. When someone helps you through darkness, your brain creates an emotional bond. That's normal. That's attachment theory in action. But the nice guy weaponizes that bond. He doesn't just want gratitude, he wants access, romantic access, emotional priority. And when you heal and move forward without choosing him, watch how fast the support turns into bitterness. After everything I did for you, I was there when no one else was, and you still chose someone else? Wait, that's not support, that's investment disguised as care. A truly kind man celebrates your healing, even if it doesn't lead back to him. The nice guy resents it. Danger sign number 3. He uses patience as pressure. Here's one of the most insidious tactics. The nice guy will wait. He'll be patient. He'll say things like, "I'm not going anywhere. Take all the time you need. I'll wait for you." And on the surface, that sounds romantic, loyal, devoted. But here's the twist. His patience isn't about respecting your process. It's about exhausting your resistance. Let me explain the psychology. When someone waits for you, it creates emotional debt. Your subconscious starts whispering, "He's been so patient. He's never pressured me. Maybe I should give him a chance." Not because you're genuinely interested, but because you feel guilty for making him wait. And that guilt, that's exactly what he's counting on. Because the nice guy doesn't wait out of respect. He waits because he believes eventually your guilt will override your gut. He's not giving you space, he's creating obligation. And when you finally set a boundary, when you clearly say, "I'm not interested," watch how fast patient becomes punishing. "I wasted so much time on you. You knew how I felt. You should have told me sooner." Wait, you did tell him. He just didn't accept it. That's not patience. That's persistence disguised as devotion. Danger sign number 4. He villainizes other men to elevate himself. Oh, this one. The nice guy loves to tell you how terrible other men are. "These guys don't appreciate you. I would never treat you like that. You deserve someone who actually cares." And in the moment, it sounds protective, even sweet. But here's what he's really doing. He's creating a false binary. Him equals good, every other man equals bad. This is psychological positioning. By constantly highlighting how different he is, he's subtly suggesting that your only 2 options are terrible men who hurt you or him. But that's not reality. There are emotionally healthy, genuinely kind, non-manipulative men out there. Men who don't need to tear others down to look good. The nice guy needs the comparison, because without it, he has no edge. And here's where it gets darker. When you do show interest in someone else, someone who's actually confident, direct, emotionally honest, the nice guy doesn't just feel disappointed, he feels betrayed. You chose him after everything you what? Were nice? Being kind isn't a qualification for romantic love. It's the baseline for being a decent human. A secure man doesn't need to villainize his competition. He shows up as himself and lets you choose. The nice guy needs you to believe no one else is worthy, because deep down, he's terrified that if you have real options, you won't pick him. Now, let's slow down. because understanding the why changes everything. And here's the psychology beneath it all. Why Mr. Nice Guys operate this way. The nice guy isn't born this way, he's conditioned. Here's what usually happens. Growing up, he learned that being nice equals being safe, that being agreeable equals being valued, that avoiding conflict equals maintaining connection. He learned that his worth comes from what he does for others, not from who he is. So by the time he's an adult, his entire identity is built on external validation. And here's the devastating truth. He doesn't actually believe he's desirable. So instead of showing up authentically and risking rejection, he uses niceness as a shield. She can't reject me if I'm too nice to reject. But attraction doesn't work that way.
Women don't fall in love with men because they're nice. They fall in love with men who are real, confident, direct, emotionally honest, willing to risk rejection because they trust their value. The nice guy can't do that because deep down he doesn't trust his value, so he tries to earn yours. And when earning doesn't work, when his niceness doesn't convert into romantic access, that's when resentment builds. Not at himself, but at you, for not playing by the rules of a game you never agreed to play. All right, you've seen the patterns. Now let's talk about what to do with it. And here's how to protect yourself. 1. Trust your gut over his resume. If something feels off, it is off, even if he checks every box on paper. His kindness should feel natural, not transactional. If you feel pressure beneath the politeness, listen to that. 2. Watch how he handles no. A secure man respects boundaries immediately. The nice guy negotiates them. Are you sure? But what if? Just give it a chance. No is a complete sentence. If he can't accept it, that's your answer. 3. Notice if his kindness comes with scorekeeping. Does he remind you of things he's done? Does he bring up his sacrifices? Does he make you feel indebted? That's not generosity, that's manipulation. 4. Pay attention to how he talks about other women. If he calls every ex crazy, if he describes every past rejection as a woman not seeing his value, if he constantly positions himself as the victim, he's not self-aware, he's self-pitying. And self-pity dressed as niceness is still self-pity. 5. Choose men who are secure, not nice. Secure men are kind, but they're also direct. They don't hide their interest behind friendship. They don't manipulate through patience. They don't guilt you for your feelings. They show up as themselves, and they trust that if you're meant to connect, you will. So, here's what real kindness looks like. It doesn't need recognition, it doesn't keep score, it doesn't guilt you, it doesn't expect repayment. Real kindness is given freely, without hidden motives, without covert contracts, without resentment when it's not reciprocated. And the man who embodies that, he's not performing niceness, he's living integrity. That's the man worth your time. That's the man worth your heart. Not the one who's nice, but the one who's real. So, let's say it clearly. The nice guy is dangerous, not because he's evil, but because he's dishonest, with you and with himself. He hides manipulation behind kindness. He hides entitlement behind patience. He hides insecurity behind selflessness. And the tragedy is, many nice guys don't even realize they're doing it. They genuinely believe they're the good guy in the story. But good intentions don't erase bad behavior. If you've ever felt confused, guilty, or trapped by someone who was so nice, you're not crazy. You felt the incongruency between his words and his energy, and that's your nervous system protecting you. Trust it. Stop choosing men based on how nice they are. Start choosing men based on how honest they are. Because kindness without integrity is just a strategy, and you deserve more than someone's long game. Now tell me,
Have you ever dealt with a nice guy who turned out to be anything but? What was the moment you realized something was off? Drop your experience in the comments. Your comment might be the clarity another woman needs today. This is Lovebreed, and around here, in everything we do, we let love breed. See you in the next video.